Thank you for your patience, folks. We're starting a little bit late, but I guarantee you it will be worth the wait. The January 27th regular meeting of the Riel School Division Board of Trustees will now be called to order. And I'm going to ask Trustee Turner to please read our LRSD land acknowledgement.
Thank you, Trustee Norton. The Louis Riel School Division brings together a community of schools on the traditional land of the Chinabek, and Innuak, and Dakota. Our division is located on the national homeland of the Red River Métis. We recognize that Manitoba is also the traditional land of the Anishinaabe and Dene. We respect the treaties made on this land and acknowledge the harms and mistakes of the past and present. We dedicate ourselves to authentic alliances with Indigenous communities in the spirit of reconciliation and cooperation. We recognize and honor Shoal Lake 40 First Nation, the source of Winnipeg's life-sustaining drinking water, as well as the treaty territories that generate and provide the electricity that powers daily activity throughout the province and beyond.
Thank you. I'd like to welcome everyone participating in this hybrid meeting. I will mention that we have 3 trustees who are currently joining us virtually. Trustee Semignola, Trustee Kolichuk, and Trustee Nemeth are all online. So welcome to them and those joining us from the public online. All in person and verified virtual attendees reminded to observe the procedural bylaws. And we would like to remind everyone there's a 15-minute public question period at the end of the meeting where verified participants may bring forward questions for clarification regarding the items on today's agenda. Finally, please be aware that we audio record board meetings for accuracy and that a link to the live stream of the meeting will be made available on the division's website. Our vision is for all members of our community to excel as caring, confident, capable, and resilient lifelong learners who contribute to a democratic and sustainable world. Our mission is to provide a safe, inclusive, and engaging environment where personal and collective learning are valued and each one of us reaches our full potential. Now for the approval of the agenda and the minutes. Approval of agenda for the regular board meeting. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Trustee Walker and Trustee Turner. All those in favor?
Trustee Kolichuk in favor.
Trustee Nemeth in favor.
Sorry, just waiting for the Trustee Semignola. Trustee Semignola?
Trustee Semignola in favor.
Thank you. The approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting from January the 13th. I have heard no issues or concerns with those minutes, so they will be accepted as distributed. LRSD news from the Board of Trustees provided this week by Trustee Palmquist.
Hello, everyone. I attached a couple of photos to the agenda, which I'll probably pull up in a minute, but I will start by pointing out that I attended the week before last a meeting held by Councillor Brian Mays, our colleague Trustee Nordheim and Ammerbeer from the administration on Councillor Brian Mays's working group and listening tour concerning the playground funding model. Wanted to commend him for taking the initiative in that work, especially as the subject of playground renovations has grown along with the above inflationary costs associated with this type of project, which is exacerbating the underlying inequities associated with fundraising capacity in certain neighborhoods, and is particularly relevant for divisions with new suburban growth as well. I wanted to thank him and thank everyone who participated, including a number of LRSD parents and PAC chairs. I wanted to apologize for my appearance in that awful photo. I don't know why I look like I'm completely enraged, but I promise that I was just trying to look normal.
It just emphasized how much we need that
Yes.
playground money.
I guess that's just what I look like. Sorry. So moving on, I was also very pleased to attend a round dancing in honor of the late Justice Murray Sinclair Yvonne at the last Friday at the RBC Convention Center. It was a great group of representatives from the Louis-Riel School Division, including Assistant Superintendent Corey Keplak and a number of staff at Ecole Sage Creek Bonavista, including their entire administration team and at least 4 teachers that I ran into, including my wife and kids. And it was a great event, and was very happy to see the LRSD out there communicating with and demonstrating its commitment and ongoing dialogue with the family of the late Murray Sinclair as we prepare for the experience of as equal honor for this division to be naming a school after him as it is as we are hoping the honor we are bestowing. So thank you for everyone who attended, and that's it for me. Oh, pardon me, one more thing I wanted to add without a photo, as I'm not trying to steal anyone's thunder. Was very happy to see a number of Louis-Riel students at the St. Matilda Museum late last week, right beside my place of work. Won't take away from the graphic design and videographic presentation that they are putting together. But if anyone hasn't checked out the St. Matilda Museum, they have a wonderful Louis-Riel School Division themed exhibit, as well as a history of the predecessor divisions to the LRSD. And I understand that a number of our colleagues are going to be visiting there. I have an opportunity to be visiting there together soon. Come on down, and I'll be there. And everyone's welcome to come next door to 604 St. Mary's and say hi to me at Streetlands as well.
We will be there, trustees who are able to attend on February the 14th. Probably will be the closest to a romantic event on the 14th that I have experienced. So I'm looking forward to that. So, news from the senior leadership team provided by Assistant Superintendent Ann.
Thank you. We're going to start at Ecole Sage Creek Bonavista this evening, where there was a gingerbread house challenge hosted by Skittles Manitoba and led by practical arts teachers Christy Crow and Amanda Major. Students were tasked with designing and constructing a gingerbread house style structure using only food materials. Each submission was evaluated based on blueprints, overall design, and theme. And we're thrilled to announce that students at Ecole Sage Creek Bonavista swept the competition in their age category, earning first, second, and third place across all those categories. A tremendous accomplishment that speaks to their creativity, planning skills, and teamwork. A few photos there. Project 11 also paid a visit to Ecole Sage Creek Bonavista, spending time working with classes in grade 1 to 6. And over the course of a morning, student engaged in activities focused on coping strategies, mindfulness, and wellness, and participated in thoughtful conversations around mental health that were age appropriate and highly engaging. The day concluded on an exciting note with a visit from Gabe Velarde and Eric Comrie, who met with classes, participated in discussions, and took group photos with students. The visit provided a memorable opportunity for students to connect with positive role models while reinforcing the importance of mental wellness and balance. Our next stop around Louis-Riel School Division is at École Provencher, and lively cultural nights On October 31st, École Provencher hosted its first Spanish Cultural Night in celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month, welcoming over 100 attendees from the school community. Families enjoyed a warm, festive atmosphere with arts and crafts inspired by Halloween and Day of the Dead, accompanied by lively Spanish music that brought Spanish-speaking and non-Spanish-speaking families together. Families shared traditional dishes from their countries, and many students proudly wore traditional cultural clothing. This first Hispanic Heritage Month celebration generated tremendous enthusiasm in families who have already begun discussing ideas for next year. The plans are underway as well for an African cultural evening in February in recognition of Black History Month. This event will follow a similar format, offering families another opportunity to share culture, taste, and strengthen community connections. Next, stop at Collège Béliveau. Here you have a photo of the 32 students and 3 staff members who took part in a natural helpers retreat held at the board office in November. These meaningful days provided students with valuable skills in supportive communication, identifying when someone may need help, and checking in on one another. We're proud of all of the students and staff for their commitment to building a caring, connected school community. And esports at Collège Béliveau. In the first year of the program, their senior years and middle years Rocket League esports teams participated in a provincial tournament where the senior years team won the provincial championships. Both teams are now preparing to participate in national tournaments. It has been an incredible experience, and we look forward to watching esports participation grow at the school. Banner. And Frontenac School, it takes a village. And thank you to Principal Shauna Archer for submitting this. At Frontenac School, student success and well-being are supported through strong partnerships between staff, families, and community organizations. It truly takes a team to support students in meaningful, responsive, and holistic ways. They have many partnerships with outside agencies, families, and a continued connection with former students that help create a school environment that is caring, inclusive, and supportive. But one of the most heartwarming parts of the school community is the ongoing involvement of former students. Many alumni return to volunteer at evening events. They support the nutrition programs and participate in initiatives like I Love to Read Month. Current students seeing them engage in this way have positive role models. It reinforces for them that Frontenac is a place where people are valued and remembered. And it sends a powerful message that school is more than a building, it's a community that lasts. And parent and community volunteers are also a key part in all of the events at the school. Their time and commitment help ensure students are well supported, engaged, and able to fully participate in learning opportunities. And at the bottom, you'll see an incredible list of various organizations that Frontenac partners with. And that concludes our
Thank you very much. Moving on to section 4, in terms of finance and audit. This year, the Board of Trustees has taken a slightly different approach to the budget preparation in that we, in previous years, have presented a draft budget to our community. And this year, we have gone to the community with a public budget meeting prior to, although the discussions about budget have been going on for a little while already, we wanted to have community input earlier into the process. So that occurred, and then following that budget meeting, a survey has gone out. So I'm now going to ask the senior admin team to speak to what feedback has been received and the budget consultation in general.
So the budget has pulled in 938 responses. the last time I checked. If I take a look quickly, we're at 9:49. So as the evening's progressed, we've had a few more responses. And the message from our community is clear: protect class size, strengthen student supports, invest in mental health. When we look at it, we've analyzed the data so far, and of course, the survey is still open for the next while. The highest quantitative rankings in the entire data set are those areas I've just touched on. And this is true across all groups. And we might be wondering just what is the size of the responding groups. So the largest number right now of respondents are parents and guardians. 599 of the respondents, when I was analyzing the data earlier, are the parent guardian caregiver group. So 64% of respondents are parents, families, and all other groups combined: staff, students, community, mixed roles, 36.1%. So that in essence is what we're gathering from the survey at the moment. But we will share with the board and the public we serve a final report later in February.
So just for those people online, we are hoping to get our information from the province in regards to budget beginning of February is what we have been told. And once we have that information, then our process speeds up and we have lots of conversations. Are there any comments from trustees in presence here or online regarding the budget that you would like folks to consider or know about our process?
Trustee Kolachek here online.
Thank you.
Sorry. Christian, do you want to just mention the page that you're going to be putting up?
Oh,
And-
excellent.
Yes, so we're working on another page on the website related to the budget in the form of a mill rate estimator or the implications of a mill rate estimator on property owners in LRSD. So pre-pandemic, we had built such an estimator, and so we've dusted it off, and this should help each individual homeowner in LRSD that's interested make sense of the different mill rate scenarios that we will be deliberating. You will be deliberating as a board in the coming weeks, and we'll keep updating that date. So look for that tomorrow.
So if you have an opportunity, folks, if you can continue to encourage people to take part in the survey and also to go to the estimator for their personal idea of how things will impact them as we move through this budget process, that would be very helpful. Thanks, Trustee Kolachek, for reminding us about that very important page. Are there any other comments? Okay. Thank you very much. This is a very important part of our work. The budget, we take it very, very seriously, and your input is valued as we go about making some happy decisions and some tough decisions. So that's important to us for everybody around this table. Yeah. Oh, Trustee Semignola?
I just want to thank the community that came forward at our last meeting to participate in the budget process, and encourage everyone to visit the survey as it's still very open. I wanted to, is there anything that we can share there from what we have received already or no?
I think the summary that the superintendent shared in terms of a desire for maintaining low-class sizes and increased student services, and also looking after our aging infrastructure. Those were, from my recollection, part of your conversation and what was shared. But as we get more input from the survey, we'll continue to get information on the pros, the ideas that people are putting forward as important to them.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to staffing. I'll ask, there's been a principal appointment and a vice principal. Superintendent Michalak?
We are recommending as a senior leadership team to the board that Ifetayo Aramu be appointed as principal at École Guillaume, effective August 1st, 2026. She is at the moment vice principal at Collège Béliveau.
Okay, and Assistant Superintendent Cadez, in terms of vice principal appointment?
We are recommending that Leanna Rook be appointed as vice principal at École Saint-Germain, effective August 1st, 2026. Leanna is currently a language consultant, and literacy consultant at the school district in Saskatoon.
Oh, interesting. Coming east.
Mhm.
Excellent. On behalf of the board, félicitations.
Très bien.
Congratulations to our principal and vice principal.
We're gonna need to vote though.
Oh, so sorry. I got so excited about the French. For the principal appointment, all those in favor, including those,
I move.
a mover and a seconder.
I move. Chupalo.
I'll second Sandy.
Thank you for saving me. We have a mover and a seconder, and now we will vote. All those in favor?
Trustee Kolachuk in favor.
Trustee Nemeth in favor.
Thank you. And can I have a mover and a seconder for the vice principal appointment?
Also move.
Trustee Bjornson and seconder trustee Sigurdsson. All those in favor?
Trustee
Trustee
Nemeth in
Kolachuk.
favor.
Trustee Kolachuk in favor.
It's closed. Thank you. Darn, it's doing so well there, and then I got too excited. We'll now go to number 6, senior leadership team information to the board. The first on controlled access measures in schools. Is Amabir online?
Yes, I am online.
So are there any questions? Do you have anything you want to say prior to questions?
I can probably go over the report. Good evening, everyone. The report that I shared today provides an update on the implementation of controlled access system across LRSD schools, focusing on fob readers, video intercom, doorbell systems, access fobs, and a digital visitor log to improve security and enhance control. Since the last update, we have not installed any additional video intercom systems and additional fob readers at this point. We're exploring the possibility of upgrading existing fob readers to Bluetooth capable units. And we're hoping that the remaining installations and upgrades will be completed by the end of the school year. And we're hoping to also provide an updated schedule in the February update. That would be February 17th, second meeting in the second board meeting in February. So in terms of The fob readers, we have completed an audit prior to the winter break, December 19th. And we've identified locations that require additional video intercom systems and fob readers. So division-wide needs include 38 additional video intercom systems that are required and 132 additional fob readers required. And we'll need to upgrade 106 existing fob readers to Bluetooth-capable readers. For the video intercom systems, we're having a meeting with the vendor next week to explore the possibility of integrating video intercom systems, fob readers, and monitoring cameras. So that's why it's taking us a little bit more time to implement the installation. And we're also looking at possibility of using digital key using mobile phones to replace fobs. So that's the next steps. And for fobs, we have already issued 1,000 fobs to following schools: Darwin School, Minnetonka, Ecole Verens, Ecole Sage Creek, Bonavista Vista, Geno Vanier, and Island Lakes Community School. And we have placed an order for another 1,500 fobs yesterday. And we're expecting delivery in 2 to 3 weeks for those fobs. And we'll continue to issue fobs to our school staff. And in terms of the doorbells, that's our interim measure that we have put in place. Wireless doorbells are being used at sites where a full video intercom system hasn't yet been installed. We have also installed wired doorbells where we had challenges with the building structure, not able to work with the wireless doorbells. And those schools were Windsor School, Hastings, Glenwood School, Archwood School, Ecole Saint Germain, Marion School, and Sage Creek School. Our IS team has also worked on acquiring a digital visitor log system, and they've identified a solution to monitor individual entering school facilities. And the system is intended to track visitors, temporary staff, such as substitute teachers and other employees. So we have selected this app. It's called Sign In App. It's a digital visitor log system, and it will replace all the paper-based sign-in processes with the electronic platform designed to support controlled access at the school entrances. It has been purchased and is currently being configured. We've received the hardware, and configuration is ongoing. We're looking at setting up school-specific logos for the system, and we're expecting to have the deployment begin mid-February. So that's my update for the controlled access measures in our schools.
Thank you, and we will ask for questions. Trustee Turner?
I have one, and maybe I misunderstood, but 1,000 that have been rolled out or are going to be rolled out to staff. If one of them goes missing, is there a way to deactivate that one? Are they specifically like appointed to a specific staff member so that it can be deactivated and whoever picks it up in the parking lot can't use it to get into the school?
Yes, these fobs can be deactivated and they're issued to staff, and we are keeping track of who gets what fob, so they're coded with a number, and we're able to deactivate once an employee reports to us that they have lost their fob or they've misplaced it. So we have full capability of deactivating those fobs.
Thank you.
Trustee Kolochuk?
Thank you. Sorry, just took me a bit to unmute. I just have 3 questions. We're buying a lot of things. So do we have a cost update on what it's costing us to implement all these security measures? Because I know initially there was a number that was provided based on certain technologies, and fobs was kind of like a last resort, and now we're moving all into fobs. And if you don't have that right now, that's fine. If you could find out what that implication is from a budget standpoint, that would be great, unless you have an answer.
I will bring an update once I have the meeting with the vendor.
Okay, My second of three questions is you listed off a long name of schools. Have we done anything with high schools? Did I just miss a name of a high school, or I thought I heard mostly elementary schools?
Our focus has been on the elementary schools at this point.
Okay. And my third question is, what are other school divisions in Winnipeg doing? Are they doing the same thing as we are, or are they looking at different methods of security within their schools?
I know for sure Pembina Trails already have access control and they have their employees fobs. This is prior to this incident, so every division is different. And I'm also looking at what systems the other divisions are using, so that's why it's taking me time to kind of really identify one solution that's going to work for our divisions. So we also want to make sure leverage the systems that we currently have and enhance our security. So I know that I don't have all the answers today for you, but I can certainly bring those, for the next meeting.
I appreciate that, Emma Bear. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I'm not as familiar with the sign-in app. As described, am I visualizing correctly, kiosk or post with an iPad that you type in instead of a clipboard on the desk, basically? Yeah. So that's roughly speaking, one iPad and metal pole type arrangement per school, plus the subscription to the app?
Yeah, that's it. In some ways, yes, it does more than that. You can distribute QR codes to transients, like staff that are moving amongst the different schools or technicians, so that it sits in their wallet, in their smart device, so that they can easily, when it can capture a picture if you want as they check in. It can actually ask the person checking in, who are they here to see? And they type that person's name in, and that person would actually get a Teams message saying your guest has arrived. So it's really about allowing for a flow of what's happening in the building. It also allows for, if you have to evacuate the building, let's say for an emergency, the principals and vice principal will have an app that tells them exactly who is in the building, so that they aren't running around finding binders and sheets to know and try to, on walkie-talkies, trying to figure out, have we got everybody? They will know exactly who's supposed to be, from a guest perspective, who is or isn't in the building. Mm-hmm. And it also has geotagging. So if somebody, kind of like think about when you like your online parking. So if you leave the geofence that we put around the building, as they drive away, it will sign them out if they forget to. So it really lets us know who is in and who is not in the building.
Can you get it for a previous question to remind you if you dropped or forgotten your fob? Because how much, I understand this isn't necessary, but how much, very broadly speaking, would be placement fee for a lost fob? I assume it's only $20 or something.
That's less, I believe it's $10.
Okay.
Kabir, can you confirm what
Not
the
bad.
cost of a fob is?
It's about $10 a fob.
But it's also why we're exploring the mobile phone.
Yeah. Oh, would that be integrated?
Yeah, ideally, we're hoping that the mobile phone can replace the fob.
And pardon me for diving into the weeds. Just, is the visitor ring app integrated at all with the like per permanent staff ongoing tracking, or is that just would it be specifically to occasional visitors? Or
no, it's itinerant as well. So if you have people that just as a check-in, check-out, so that people know who's in the building and who's not. Yeah, it applies to them as well. Okay. It's a one-stop shop for everything.
And final question, the idea is there just be one of those right by the office?
Yes.
Is that the idea?
Yes.
Okay, not like by each door?
No. Have to go to the office.
Thank you.
And this will apply K to 12, not just K to 8.
Oh, really?
And so the difference in our high schools is that I just wanted to qualify that we have in our high schools ensured that the majority of doors are locked at all times. and that access into the school is limited to as few doors as possible. And we have one of our high schools that actually is essentially replicates what we're doing in our K-8 schools, but it's a smaller high school. It's just not viable in some of our larger high schools to have just one entrance point with an intercom system.
Trustee Simonyola?
Yeah, I just had a quick question. Obviously, looks like a lot of progress since we committed to getting this controlled access done. Do we have a roadmap or a target to when we might be able to finish all the schools that we're planning? And in relation to getting all of them done, what's a percentage roughly of how much work has already been done to this point?
You'll have that roadmap, that schedule at your second meeting in February.
Thank you.
Last questions? Okay, thank you. And now we'll move on to 6.2, workplace safety. Oh, pardon me, sorry, Amabir, thank you very much. That was very thorough and exactly what we needed. And Trustee Palmquist has
Can I
now
ask
had
one more
another
question?
synapse.
Again, this may not, maybe come back to us thing. I'm just wondering about data security in terms of records that we're keeping, who's visiting schools, when, et cetera, identities, so forth. Is there, and understanding this may be a conversation for in camera if possible, if necessary, but is there steps to ensure that data is kept secure, and then any decisions we're maybe making about who or where data is stored?
Yeah, and I just want to speak to data governance in general as well, right? And how you can expect in this school year guidelines related to just what you're speaking to, data governance to come to you. So not just related to this data matter, but all data. And also relative to AI, as we've talked in the past. And AI will figure in this as well in terms of analyzing that we expect. But I'll let Clark expand.
Yeah, that's also very important. So this company, all that data is housed in Canada.
Oh, great.
In Toronto.
That was my question without trying to
say it out loud. Absolutely. We always try to defer to vendors that have Canada, and it's sitting in Microsoft's Azure platform, so which is where all of our data is as well. So it's all part of the same.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah, it's all good.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Amabir, thank you very much for a thorough report.
Welcome.
Appreciate it. 6.2, Workplace Safety and Health Committee, and we're welcoming a new employee to the, Hall of Fire. So welcome, and here we go. So to Ms. Niedermeyer, who's our new Workplace Health and Safety Representative. So I turn it over to you.
Thank you. In Q2, the Workplace Safety and Health Committee continued to strengthen safety-wide safety practices by reviewing incident trends, discussing the use and monitoring of two-way radios in schools, and identifying opportunities to enhance communication during snow days and other weather-related events. Following a Manitoba Workplace Safety and Health inspection at the Norbury Board office, 4 improvement orders were issued, with remedial actions underway or completed related to bulletin board communications, committee documentation, evacuation signage, and completion of musculoskeletal injury risk assessments. Q1 incident data was presented and opportunities were identified to improve the quality of incident reporting. As a result, a subcommittee has been established to redesign the employee incident report form to better capture injury types, behavior-related injury trends, and cumulative comparisons, alongside a separate subcommittee focused on improving building inspection processes. The committee also identified the need for first aiders to be clearly identified and posted in all buildings to support legislative compliance. Looking ahead to Q3, committee members will attend a professional development day to support ongoing learning with a topic currently being determined.
I gotta tell you, if you leave workplace health and safety, you might have a career as an elementary. That articulation was terrific.
Thank you.
Very well done. Are there any questions? That was very thorough. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Anybody? That's great. Anybody online? No, we're great. Thank you very much for
You're
your
very
time. We
welcome.
appreciate it, and please don't feel that you need to stay. You're more than welcome to go home and be with your family, although we'll miss you. Welcome. I hope things go very well for you in this new position.
Thank you very much. And it was great meeting you all.
Thank you. Okay, 6.3, leadership team meeting. I'll ask Assistant Superintendent Cadez to give us the highlights.
Thank you. So the leadership team met on January 15th and spent the day together, starting off with a presentation by Assistant Superintendent Kapelik, reviewing a lot of the work and learning we had done with Niigaan Sinclair in October, and reminding us of the journey ahead of us, bringing our work back into the context of Justice Sinclair's description of reconciliation as climbing a metaphor, a difficult journey, but one that is worthwhile and one we must continue. And ensuring that as we worked into our peer meeting sessions later in the morning and in the afternoon, talking about our own personal learning, that in the initiatives we're trying to develop ourselves, that this is at the forefront of our thinking, and ensuring that we are addressing the needs of our students, the Indigenous students in our schools, and working towards taking action on reconciliation. From there, we had some updates from SLT, and Assistant Superintendent Anderson presented some updates on emergency response plans, student registration form updates, and school of choice processes. And that was information shared with the principals and vice principals to ensure that they were aware of any upcoming changes that may be processes. And then we moved into the professional learning portion of the day, where the Director Clark Hagan and his team have done an amazing job of developing some artificial intelligence tools for our team to articulate what it is that we are working on individually and collectively, to collect that information and to talk about where some of our strengths and needs are as individuals, which then allowed the system to pair us up with different people to both offer information to and learning opportunities to, and to gain some of those learning opportunities from our peers as well. And so there were 3 of those sessions set up where we were strategically placed with others within the group that could either offer insights into our own learning or where we could offer insights into theirs, to allow us to grow in our process, and reminding us of the process as well, finding out what stage of learning we are at in the context of a project-based learning model. And so from within that, 3 meetings, and in between the times, there was a lunch period and other time for discussion. School teams had a chance to meet just amongst themselves to work on individual school projects as cooperative teams, or families of schools were gathering together to talk about relevant topics. And then we ended the day with a presentation from Secretary Treasurer Rudnicki discussing the elements of the budget in anticipation of the presentation for the public the following week, just to give the team an update as to where what would be expected in that presentation. And overall, there's a lot of information collected on an exit survey that will inform the next session, including collection of information about where everyone landed on their own learning and that after that day, and where they need to go in the next step, so that we can have a similar experience the next time together.
Thank you. Comments or questions? Thank you very much. 6.4, AI and the Education Summit that was held a week ago, I believe. And we have Trustee Nemeth and members of the SLT will provide some highlights from that summit, which got very good reviews, I might say. Trustee Nemeth, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I'll keep my comments brief. I would say, from my vantage point, and as someone who is trying to learn about what AI is and is not, it was a really well done, well thought out, and well planned day in terms of just providing some context. The keynote speaker right now, whose name escapes me, was incredibly dynamic and very engaging, and offered some really interesting historical connections to current day situations that are unfolding to remind us that that technology has been part of our lives forever, and it, is going to continue on in that way. There were some trustees in attendance. The ones that I spoke to felt similarly, that it's kind of a little bit nervous about what's unfolding, but at the same time, the opportunities that it presents and the way we're using it already just indicate that AI is here to stay, and we have a duty and obligation to ensure that, at least from the perspective of K to 12, students are being shown how to use it and use it well, but at the same time, being respectful of what it can do. And so I would say that really what it did was, at the end of the day, leave me with a desire to learn more. And certainly the folks from LRSD that were there, that let me just pepper them with question after question in terms of, what some of the things that were being discussed, how that was surfacing in classrooms and conversations. I just really appreciated their patience and their insight. So a great day from my perspective.
Thank you. Clark, would you like to add anything to this conversation?
I mean, it was the keynote was fantastic, as Jonathan said, and you had this, options for different sessions, and they were all very good, and I've heard positive things about all of them. And I will admit that I was a bit concerned when we didn't hear, this is the provincial vision or the mandate of what this is going to be, and I was wrong in thinking that should have been what that day was about. Because I realize now that you have to experience something before you could even think about where are the guardrails, or where is this all going, and you can't even think about that yet. So I was really impressed with how the day went, and I hope it's one of many that we get to come back and revisit, so that now that we have that experience, and then we can build momentum, and then you can just keep going down that path. So, very good.
Thank you. Anybody else? Comments?
So is there an indication from the province that they're bringing forward some governance and legislation around it, or they're leaving it up to school divisions to come up with their own policies as it relates to AI use in the schools?
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. So they use, the province has in conjunction with MADL have at least a very simple guidelines. Nobody wants to call it a policy, because the quote is, across the country, you create a policy on AI, you're the first one, and it's moving so fast right now. So that's not, it is visible guidelines, and some divisions have, some don't. Ours are almost done. I thought they were closer, and then it's moving so fast. It's slightly, it's changed a little bit, but anyway, but right now the short answer is yes. Divisions are kind of coming up with their own. It really has to be based upon culture and where you're at, and there's a lot to consider. But yeah, school divisions are kind of working through that. MADL is one organization. I know Mass talks about it as well, and a lot of, and actually the two organizations are talking to each other to collaborate. So it's very positive.
Trustee Palmquist?
Yeah, I just want to thank Trustee Nemeth for attending on behalf of the board. I was disappointed I couldn't go, but we're called. That said, I wanted to inquire, the comment about policies and developing policy kind of triggered something in my mind. we do have, there are historic policies with respect to advertising in schools that are like dating back from an earlier technological era, so to speak. Like as my recollection, that there were historic policies and legislation with respect to like TV commercials and that sort of thing being in schools. Is there anything left over of that structure from that particular era, like when you used to roll in the old, car into the class? And I seem to recall there being like discourse and debate about that in years gone past. I'm wondering if there's anything left over from that period that's still on the books or being considered. Or not being considered, but still left over, still technically in place.
What, relative to advertising?
Yeah, relative to the
Promotion.
permissiveness of advertising. So I bring it up because a lot of the conversation AI is pointing to that, like many emergent technologies and web-based technologies, that the explosive growth phase is now slowing, and then the advertising phase is following the very similar pattern of social media and many other emergent trends. And a lot of the discourse right now is pointing to that, like AI platforms are going to begin incorporating advertising into it. And I wanted to know if there's anything left over from earlier media consumption periods of our history that might pertain.
Well, I think if anything, it'll, as AI platforms try to monetize what they are offering us, and that's monetized through advertising, that will have to be a part of our guidelines. That said, we control access to a platform that I don't see getting monetized. So I think we talked about our last meeting. We're leveraging Copilot.
It's an enterprise AI, not a
It's an
public
enterprise AI, so that
It's different.
and we limit access to these other platforms.
Yeah.
That are problematic for many reasons, including the potential of advertising.
Does that answer your question?
Thank you.
Trustee Campbell?
Actually, I think Ryan was referring to, and I thought you were too young to know about, it was called YTV in the 90s, and they brought it in, and it was a
I
service.
watched White.
No, not that.
No, not
No.
my TV.
But it was a service where they
Oh, I see.
brought in
Not the letter Y,
Daily
the whole
News.
Y.
Oh,
daily news.
I was like, I'm trying White to be age.
Yeah, different YTV though. Like, you're subject to commercials, and that was done in the 90s. That the government change completely. They got rid of that contract and took that right out of the buildings. And even some reluctance to allow sponsored scoreboards in some schools, or Coke or Pepsi or whatever as well. So, I mean, yeah, we shouldn't embrace that if it's going to subject them to advertising in some space where that's not part of their daily routine. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Different YT.
As a follow-up to that AI summit, there was a couple of really interesting articles in the Free Press. One that spoke specifically to the importance of teacher librarians in working with AI and their ability to speak to that. So that was very interesting. If you didn't get a chance to read them, I would go back and take a look. And it also spoke very positively about the AI summit. So I'm glad we had people there representing us. Moving on to number 7, policy. I'll turn this over to Superintendent Anderson.
Thank you. I would like to begin with policy changes that are coming for information. And this is first regarding policy ACE, which is our commitment to accessibility, and one of its administrative protocols. This is entitled Employment Accessibility Practices. So in order to ensure legislative compliance, clarification has been made to specific aspects of the protocol related to pre-employment accessibility requirements, provision of individualized accommodation plans, and denial of accommodation requests. This work was conducted in partnership with the Manitoba Accessibility Secretary. So this instance is a change to the administrative protocol that we're merely bringing for information to trustees and the public this evening, and no vote is required.
Okay, thank you. And ratification of amendment?
Yes, we're bringing forward this evening 3 policies for amendment. And the first is policy DKB, procedures for reimbursement of expenses, approval of employee accommodations. The revision presented for the consideration this evening ensures that the policy aligns with the provision of the MSBA MTS Provincial Collective Agreement related to reimbursement of expenses related to approved extracurricular activities. And you'll see that change highlighted in the copy provided for your reference. The second policy coming forward this evening is policy EECA, emergency preparedness. The proposed revisions ensure the policy reflects recently implemented changes, as Amber was sharing earlier, to building security with respect to controlled and monitored access. A change to the policy title is proposed to avoid potential confusion with emergency response plans. The original title was Emergency Preparedness Plan. Taking that word out to avoid confusion. And lastly, reference to the Employment Accessibility Practices Administrative Protocol has been. And the last policy coming before you this evening is policy IMD AHC. And this is observance of Remembrance Day. The revisions before the board this evening reflect a recent change to provincial legislation regarding Remembrance Day. Specifically, schools are afforded a larger window in which to conduct their annual Remembrance Day observance. And the applicable legislative reference has moved from the Admin Act to the Public Schools Act. The policy title and reference code have been updated to more greatly emphasize the observance of Remembrance Day as opposed to the solicitation of funds. The title of the policy previously was public solicitations in schools, observance of Remembrance Day. And it was only located in the K section of policy, which is to do with organizations. And it really had an emphasis on collecting donations on behalf of the Royal Canadian Legion for poppy distribution. The new policy code IMD has been assigned to the policy to reflect that this is more about learning opportunities that students have. It will fall now in the instruction category of the policy manual. And this policy also has an addition to it to be more inclusive of students' religious beliefs and or personal convictions. That is in alignment with the provincial document responding to the diversity of religion in Manitoba schools.
Do we have any voting on this? Yes, that's okay. Guide me through this.
Ask for a mover and a seconder.
Thank you very much. For the following list of policies, a mover and a seconder, Trustee Walker. Mover, seconder, Trustee Bjornson. Any questions? Thank you.
I have a question about the emergency preparedness amendments. Specifically, looks like deleted section or a changed number section 3.4. School staff encountering visitors in the building who are not wearing a visitor badge directed to the school office and advise office staff of their presence. I just wanted to inquire if there is any liability or time sensitive nature of that inquiry. Like for instance, is a staff person who sees someone without a visitor badge expected to drop everything and immediately report to the office if they see someone in the hallway, or is it like within a reasonable frame of time? The reason I ask is just on the possibility that if someone is seen in the hallway and then the EA or custodian or teacher doesn't immediately report it to the office because they're say doing something else, and then they're gonna get to it later, is this an expectation that they would advise the office on like an emergency basis immediately?
Go ahead.
So it really is going to come down to assessment of risk. So if they see someone they don't know that doesn't have a visitor's badge and they direct them to go to the office and the person takes off running in the other direction, they're going to be buzzing the office right away or texting the principal or what have you. It really is going to be context specific, and this is about keeping schools safe and having open lines of communication within the building so that response can occur as quickly as possible where necessary.
All right.
And also this policy is coming in the context of controlled access in our school.
Yeah.
Relative to what the lived experience was in many of our schools for that regrettable incident in December.
Any other comments or questions? And I'll call for the vote, please. All those in favor of those amendments?
Trustee
Trustee
Nemeth?
Kolachuk,
Trustee Nemeth in favor?
Trustee Kolachuk in favor.
Thank you. Moving on to correspondence. Nobody has asked for anything to be brought forward. I'll ask now if there's anything that anybody would like to speak to that didn't get to our attention previously. Okay. And the following correspondence will be received by the board. We'll move on to action items. So we've had some conversation, but we're going to have an opportunity to, I'm going to bring some context to the motion being moved by Trustee Walker and seconded by Trustee Bjornson. The gist of the motion is that we would like to expand our question periods from 1 to 2. The first one being at the beginning of the meeting, so folks will have an opportunity to address questions on the agenda. And the second one being our 15-minute regular motion at the end. This motion is lengthy and we have sought some advice. So I'm going to ask Trustee Walker, who is the mover, to speak to the motion and then I'll speak to our next steps.
Thank you, Norma. So my intent with this motion was to open up our meetings a bit more, to give the public an opportunity to be able to engage with us before we make decisions. And as you mentioned, we've received some advice and for some friendly amendments, but due to the length of the motion, I think we're going to, we're still going to have the two question periods, and I'm definitely keen on seeing more information in our agendas. We just need to make some changes to the motion before we move on.
So I would like to then, based on that premise, suggest that we do a deferral, but a referral. So that if it's okay with the board and approved by the board, that we would take this motion and with consultation with the secretary treasurer, the superintendent, chair and vice chair, incorporate the legal advice that was given, rework the motion to bring back to the board for your approval. And then we would then refer the implementation piece once the motion has been approved. And then we would begin to talk about implementation and the balance of workload for the board office, et cetera. So those would be the steps. If there are questions, I certainly can answer or try to get those answered, and then we can move forward from there. Trustee Sigurdsson.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. It's complicated and something that we certainly personally want to see happen, and something we certainly understand that tweaks are needed, but I think there may be a slight misunderstanding that my understanding, I'm hoping that this is still would be Trustee Walker's motion, not a motion from the chair
Correct.
and vice chair.
Correct.
So what your wording there was saying that it's
Well, we would
chair,
develop
vice chair.
it rather than have and bring it back to the board and Trustee Walker would have the opportunity to then make the motion.
Not going to be a new motion coming from the chair.
Correct.
It's going to be Trustee Walker's motion.
Correct.
Whether he approves of the suggested changes.
With the input from the lawyer. Yep.
Very good.
Yep. Nope.
Sorry, just a reminder to speak a little louder so people can hear online. Thanks.
Any Trustee Palmquist?
Yes, thanks. Well, thank the mover and thank Trustee Nordheim and everyone for their engagement on this, and look forward to continuing to collaborate on making the best possible thing. I wanted to identify that I felt that why this would be beneficial for me, and I made that decision following the vote over the move of École Varennes students to Henri Bergeron. And when there were a group of parents who had comments, questions, and were only delivered after our board made the vote. Now I voted for that, and I likely would have supported the administration's recommendation ultimately in the case of any feedback that was done. And I say that as a parent at École Varennes, whose my own child will be moved over, but it was a definite opportunity for community to engage directly with the board on an issue before it took place that was for procedural reasons not done. And I think that that was an example of an instance of where I think we would strengthen our relationship with community, and through that creating those opportunities to create the best possible outcomes in collaboration, not just the collaboration between board members and administration, but a collaboration between the division as a whole and the public through this body. And so I welcome this. That said, I commend everyone who is contributing their amendments, thoughts, and improvements to the language of this. And I look forward to working together on that.
I'll ask if there's any comments online. So then thank you.
Sorry, I just wanted to double check and confirm process. Like, are we gonna have a discussion period when the motion comes back later after we've had time to consult more and discuss, or is now the time to have bring those questions forward?
No, there will be time when the motion is reworked, including the recommendations that the mover and seconder have already agreed to. And we will bring back the motion for discussion with all board members prior to, and then the second part is the implementation piece, but the motion itself will be discussed once it's rewritten in with the advice. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Trustee Simoniolo, yeah.
Okay.
Trustee Semignola?
Trustee Semignola?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, you know, obviously there's already existing processes in order for the community to provide feedback, whether it's to their trustee, whether it's to the SLT, or to the superintendent. I think we have it on the website, highlighted different ways for the community to engage. I believe this brings forward another opportunity to be able to speak what we've wanted for on the agenda, so that on that day, you know, we're all already knowing what the feedback could be from the community. And I think this will encourage more in-person attendance, and look forward to how it comes back and how we're going to implement it.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you to the board as a whole for taking the time to make sure that this motion is prepared in a way that allows us to move forward in not having to retract if we've made a mistake. I think this is a very good decision on the part of the board. Moving on then, will be to 9.2 and providing context to the motion. It was moved by Trustee Bjornson and seconded by Trustee Walker. It was coming to the board for consideration. There are some friendly amendments, and so I will read the motion as it stands currently, open for questions, and then we will proceed from there. So the motion 2025-049 is amended, and whereas the expectation is that trustees are to prioritize and accept responsibility to attend all regular and special meetings of the board, and the legislation currently provides for punitive measures for consecutive absences, and whereas trustees' participation and attendance is critical to make informed decisions on behalf of the electorate, and they are compensated for their service. And whereas the board is committed to transparency, accountability, and accessible governance practices, and therefore it be resolved that pursuant to Article 56(1) regulation of the Public Schools Act, any trustee who misses more than 3 regular and or special meetings of the board, the trustee's stipend will be reduced by $500 for each absence. The mover and seconder have approved the amendment. Are there any questions and or comments?
I just realized, I think that I meant to define it in terms of in one school year as well, provide those parameters. My apologies for that. I thought I had included that in my note, but sometimes it's hard to read my writing. I'm not sure if I connected the dots there, but I believe that it was to fall within one school year.
Yes.
Or calendar year. Or did?
Sorry, I was gonna say, Trustee Semignola had his hand.
Yeah, just 1 second. I'm just gonna see, we are friendly Manitoba, so this would be our second friendly amendment to the length of time. Is that possible?
This calendar year, it's still restricted.
So just as a point of reference, trustee indemnities are on a calendar year.
Oh, calendar, okay.
So it would be,
Calendar, sorry.
Danina would be calendar year.
Calendar,
Yeah.
not school year?
Correct.
Yeah, my apologies.
Trustee indemnities, January.
At board school for annual.
inaugural meeting. Then it would be September to August. Can even be a school year. And that's what. Sorry.
So would it be, I want to make sure we get this right. Is this going to be from inaugural meeting
Yes.
to, from inaugural meeting to inaugural meeting?
From inaugural meeting, the following annual meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
I agree. No, it's
No.
not a school year.
would have to be worded at like inaugural meeting. Yep, I will take comments as they're preparing this. Trustee Seminola, you had some comments? Or
Yeah, one comment.
questions?
Yeah, one comment just came up as we're talking about the amendment. If you're going to make an amendment to say from inaugural meeting to annual meeting, you have to think about subsequent meeting in between the inaugural meeting and the multiple annual meeting that we have between the mandate, how those being addressed in the way the motion is written. That's just a comment to that edit. But the other thing is, though the spirit of, although I support the spirit of the motion, I think it's being directed, the advocacy of it or the proposed to change is being directed to the wrong body. I think they should be to the government for the PSA Act to change or the resolution to the MSBA. Unlike being an MLA, which I believe Trustee Burrison was, and he had experience with different attendance situation or process. If you're MLA, that's your sole job as well. Whereas when the community was fighting against Bill 6-4, wanted the community to be the representative, and everybody else in there does have a job. So I'm trying to understand who's going to be the HR. We have the chair and the vice chair, but they're not the leader of the group to determine what's excused and what's an excused absence. I think this probably needs to go to another body. With that, I'll be voting against this motion tonight. Thank you.
So that is what I was going to say is we're having, I'm gonna reread the motion, the part of the motion that has this amendment about length of time. And then we'll come back to questions. But I will say that this is also a motion that will require some discussion about implementation. And that will be after the motion has been voted on. So I'm just gonna read the part that we've just changed in terms of timing. Therefore, be it resolved that pursuant to Article 56(1) of the Public Schools Act, any trustee who misses more than 3 regular and/or special meetings of the board from the inaugural meeting to the following annual meeting or between consecutive annual meetings, the trustee's stipend will be reduced by $500 for each absence.
Tab has.
Trustee Kolachuk. Comments and/or questions now?
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. So we have, sorry, it's loud where I am. We have guidelines in regards to the code of conduct in the school board TSA, the public school board's policies, and I find that this motion that's trying to be put forward penalizes those that do have a full-time job outside of being trustee, and it also creates barriers to those that want to be a school trustee, to be only retirees or people that don't have a job or are part-time, because we have other commitments outside of that. And I would say as a trustee, we are a governing body. We're not elected politicians. This is not our only role, and we do it a lot on a volunteer basis. If you took the amount of pay divided the amount of hours that we're actually putting in. So when things come up where we need to miss meetings due to work or important things in our child and families happenings, I would hope that the community, which I know mine does, understands that that is important in to who I am as a trustee, but they also recognize the fact that I'm following up with the chair and being very informed of what's going on in the community. As all trustees should. If they miss a meeting, they should be following up with the chair and they should be making sure that they're watching the YouTube video and that they're actually coming to meetings prepared and having read all of the material so that way they are informed. So I will not be voting in favor of this motion. I think it creates barriers to who can run in the next election. And I really hope that we see people that are well educated, that are in the business community, that understand what's needed in public education are running and understand that this is a governance body. We are not here to take care of a political responsibility. We're here to govern the role of the superintendent and represent our communities to ensure that students are first in schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Walker and then Trustee Palmquist and Trustee Nemeth.
Thank you. Well, I decided to second this motion and I'll be supporting it because I believe that the people that voted to elect me expect me to come to meetings, and I've been working full-time since the day I got elected. I have 2 kids, and one of the conversations my partner and I had when I decided to run was that it was going to be a sacrifice to do public service. It's important that I'm here at the meetings, as all you are, to have the conversations. If I'm absent from the meetings, my community is not represented. And I don't feel as though I should be paid if I'm not showing. So I will be supporting this, and I appreciate Trustee Bjornson motion forward.
Trustee Palmquist?
Yeah, trustees around this table get paid almost as much as the EAs. Our division, only a few thousand less, who work full-time, 5 days a week, an extremely challenging job, and for just a little less money, we have to show up to 2 evening Tuesday night meetings a month. And we can join them remote from anywhere on earth if we want. It's not a high bar, clear. I have 3 children, the youngest kids probably of anyone on this board. And I work full time. It's really a reasonable expectation on the part of the public that people will be consistently attending these meetings. And ultimately, in my view, the purpose of elected school boards, the reason why this isn't a group of 9 respected community appointees or former educators, the reason why it's 9 elected essentially random community members who put their names forward is because this is a political role whose power and potential is to apply democratic political legitimacy in the service of public education and its interests. And that is our primary duty, and that's our primary potential. And strengthening the reputation of and accountability of this body, in keeping along with the previous motion that we just discussed, is ultimately not only what's good for this board, but what's good for the cause of the public education as a whole.
Thank you, Trustee Nemeth, and then Trustee Sigurdsson.
So I'm very grateful for the conversation that has been had and the multiple perspectives that have been shared around the role of a school board trustee. I've always said that everybody defines the role differently, and everybody will choose to engage differently, whether that is you know, how you attend or how you're present. And at the end of the day, the folks that elected us are who we are accountable for. I'm torn. I'm torn between voting for something that I believe potentially strengthens the engagement and the work of our board as a whole by bringing us together physically, whether it's all in a room together or online, and voting against because life and the fact that this is not our first job, and many folks around the table previously and in the future will have multiple balls in the air that they're trying to juggle. And people have family emergencies and people get ill. So I do think that what's really important when we talk about fleshing out the language is that there is clarity and continued compassion for life's happenings, and that as a board, we have conversation if we feel that there is a situation arising where perhaps as a group, we need to talk about something. And so I just wanted to offer that perspective and say thank you for the conversation that's happened. And it's been respectful tonight, which is great. And there's been conflicting opinions. And at the end of the day, regardless of the outcome of the vote, we will carry on and we will get behind this new policy, and we will continue on to do the work that we were elected to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Sigurdsson.
Yes, first of all, I want to say how I thank the folks for bringing both of these motions and motions that we've had last week, I think, in the last meeting. It's extremely refreshing for all my time on the board to see individual trustees taking the initiative and putting matters forward for us to all debate, talk about, disagree on, and implement or not implement. I think that's extremely refreshing. It's something that has been missed, and it's something that Bill 64, the resistance to Bill 64 anticipated, was that individual elected trustees have agency and have the power to work for our constituents and the people who voted for us, and to actually make positive decisions and put forward potential decisions. I think that's very refreshing. In terms of this particular motion, I'm very much in favor of it, and I think we hope it's never going to have to be used. But it's a way of planting a flag. It's a way of publicly stating our values, and our values are, as stated, that we represent the public. We have a job to do. We should show up and do that job. I don't think 3 meetings is onerous. I have pretty good attendance record, but I have missed meetings, and I will miss meetings. Things happen, as Trustee Nemeth said, life happens, and you may miss a meeting here or there. But if you're at the point where you're missing that many meetings, that is a problem. And it's not a problem, it's a problem for us as a board, and it's a problem for the division. And I think that's something that we need to look at. We need to publicly state that this is how we feel and this is what we believe. So I think it's a good motion. I'll support it.
Trustee Bjorn. Oh. Okay, Trustee Bjornson, then Trustee Kolachuk.
Well, I appreciate the conversation, and with the one of the whereases, it speaks to our expectation that trustees are to prioritize and accept responsibility to attend all regular and special meetings of the board. That's right out of our code, if I'm not mistaken. And as Trustee Sigurdsson said, I hope we don't have to use it. We're voted in, or we're in by acclamation, but either way, when you put your name forward, run for office, you know what you're signing up for. My wife worked really hard to help me get elected. I think she wants me to spend a lot more time away from the house. I'm not sure, but I knew what my commitment was, and I do have a full-time job. I sit on 3 other boards besides this one, but I'm attending every meeting that I can. And I don't think I've missed one. I missed one committee of the whole because of a work conflict, but I did not miss any regular meetings. the expectation from the electorate is we're electing you to represent a community. We're electing you to be our voice at the table. So be at the table. And like Trustee Sigurdsson said, no, we don't have to use it. It's just saying, attend the meetings.
Trustee Kolachuk? Trustee Kolachuk? Are you on mute?
I am. I'm talking and nobody's listening to me.
I'll give it another shot.
Okay, try again. I appreciate the comments that have come from the other trustees, but I think it's important for us to remember that we're responsible to our community and not necessarily each other, and we're responsible to the division. You know, one of our things that we talk about a lot is positive intent and ensuring that we're thinking with positive intent first. And I find it very disappointing that a group of trustees brought this motion forward instead of having a discussion with the trustees that they are trying to focus on with this motion, and instead just have a conversation in regards to things that, you know, we can agree on to what our values are and what's important to LRSD. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Any last comments before I call for the vote? Okay, call for the vote now.
I'm gonna have to vote yes verbally.
Trustee Kolachuk votes against this motion.
I voted yes, but is it showing there? No?
Yep, it is.
Here it comes. I think it's working.
Trustee Nemeth votes in favor.
The motion is carried 6-2 in favor. That brings us to public question period. Do we have anybody online who has any questions?
Anyone online who'd like to pose a question?
Hearing none from online, I will turn to people in the room. Ina?
I have a question related to the budget, but if I'm honest, I've been quite fascinated with the conversation that's just taken place regarding these two motions. May I make some observations on both of those before addressing my question on the budget?
Let's do your budget question first.
Sure. Okay. All right. I have heard from community that LRSD offers $7,500 to teachers notifying the division of their intent to retire June 26 if they gave their notification this past fall. Other divisions apparently offered $2,000. So my question is this accurate? And if yes, are the 57 FTEs at risk after the impact of attrition from retirements? And why wasn't attrition from retirements disclosed or discussed in the budget consultation presentation?
Yeah, so there was an offer of $7,500 for early retirement notice for our teachers. This was in order to help with early recruitment for our for the division, as there is now a teacher shortage when it comes to attracting and retaining teachers. When we discuss in context of budget, we look at it as kind of a net. So whatever we lose through attrition, we would hire through to fill those positions. So at the end of the day, when we present at a status quo budget, it's in anticipation of filling through attrition.
So may I ask how many, presumably these were teachers, right? Full-time teachers that this offer went to?
Yeah.
It wasn't for clinicians, support staff, EAs, et cetera?
It was for clinicians as well. Clinicians are part of the teacher.
Okay, pardon me, thank you. So may I ask you how many took LRSD up on this offer? And what was proposed to the community last week, which worst case scenario, we might be having to experience 57 FTE cuts. That is after your already known retirements, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and so may I ask, I'm just curious, how many
Yeah, there were,
took you up on that offer?
yeah, there were 32 that took us up on us offer. We did cap it at 40.
Okay. Yeah, I'm very concerned as a community member because presumably these are all individuals ready for retirement. Maybe they would have hung on. Yes, we have a teacher shortage. We're looking at cuts, but we're really going to be losing some incredible bench strength. And I know a big part of that is in response to this year's or the upcoming budget planning. But where might we be in a year or two? And we've lost some of our talent pool, like. But
we have retirements every year, yeah, and so it's just part of the process. It's just giving an incentive to early
notice or
exactly.
Okay, so you didn't necessarily experience more retirements than you would have projected on any other normal year.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
And it's more in response to the teacher shortage and the ability of our division to hire, to put out ads for known jobs sooner rather than later, so that other divisions don't, we're all gonna be competing out of the same pool. So that was one of the driving
Get ahead of the game.
decision-making.
Got it.
And the other thing is that the intent is it was in the hopes of having a cost savings as well at the end of the day, because we are incentivizing the teachers that are the most experienced at their highest rates, and usually with our drives earlier, this will attract some younger professionals into the system. So it also had a cost. The intent is also savings.
I'll come back to your comments. I'm just gonna check with Jay. Did you have any questions? Nope, thank you. So then, Ina, if you'd like to make some comments on your observations, if we can keep it
I will,
fair.
yeah, so, because I came on, this is not prepared, so I'm just, I guess I'd like to acknowledge Trustee Walker's motion, which obviously has.
Well, it'll be the board's motion now. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm sure many of you in the room know that myself and some other community members, we're very vested, and I personally have been following the board meeting for the last several years and watching them online. So the value of what Trustee Walker was proposing, it's incredibly frustrating as a community member to, okay, what's the agenda Friday afternoon? And it's like policy ABC and that's like, you're like, okay, I have no idea what that policy is. There's never a link provided. There's never any type of expand in, this is the policy as it stands. This is what is being presented for change. You're asking community to go on a scavenger hunt to go and actually try and find the policy. My experience has been is that these agendas and minutes are very much, they're written for corporate Canada. Where board meetings are very proficient. This is a school division, and I would love to encourage the board to continue to think about transparency. What happened last February, March with the Varennes vote, to my recollection, majority of those families were being informed on a Friday afternoon. The board was making a decision on a catchment change that Tuesday night, 4 days later. The community that did, that's a very short window for them to learn.
It actually was in our agenda in March. There was a brief discussion at that point, so it wasn't quite as short as it might seem. But I do wanna say to you, we appreciate your input. We are moving forward in terms of always looking for opportunities to improve our communication and our connection.
And I guess what I would really like to see, if the intent is to have as many, like for each of your agenda items. Is it crazy to think that the board package presented to the trustees would also be, it would be a lot of work to condense that, to make it a Coles Notes for community. Is there any reason why the board package that's presented that cannot be part of links to the agenda so the community can inform themselves, with the exception of very sensitive human resources and financial reports?
And the answer to your question is that part of our conversation talked about implementation of this motion. When it comes to how much work are we asking staff members to do? What kind of redaction is necessary for things that perhaps to the layperson, such as myself, might not be obvious. So we're gonna take a look at what the lawyers have advised us, and we're going to try and work with this as a board to make it as accessible and as informative as possible, meeting all of the regulations that we also have to take a look at. So I appreciate.
I think at the very least, the action items, and I think Ryan alluded to it, that he had already made his decision for the Varennes decision, the catchment change. But if community is not dialed into the meeting before where there's a notice of motion, okay? So if they aren't privy to that, didn't dial in, then sometimes the first time they're hearing about it might be just days before in their own school community. And by allowing community to give it, I'm gonna call it the 11th hour last ditch pitch. Ryan may have made his decision that night, but there might have been something that a community member may have said that may have given him reason to reconsider. And I think that's such an important piece to ensure, is that you're allowing community to make that.
And I think you've reinforced your approval of this, and that's great, because I think that you can spread that word around that we are doing the best we can and moving forward. I think the other thing is that there's lots of information that we gather from community members through phone calls, through meeting them in community events, that we really take to heart. I'm also gonna say that the senior admin team gives us lots of information that allows us to make the best decision possible. This motion, this is going to just enhance that a little bit. So I'm pleased that you're seeing that movement forward and appreciating it. And I'm glad you were here for that conversation.
Yeah, and I thank you for allowing me to weigh in.
Okay, real quick.
Yeah, just, Ina, thank you for your comments, and I agree with what you said. I just wanted to make just a quick point of clarification, just in case the way I phrased things wasn't clear. With my remarks concerning the backhand thing, when I said that I would have likely supported that regardless, how I should have phrased it was that I likely would have supported it in the sense that I have a high level of confidence in the administration when they bring forward a major proposal like that, and I anticipate that I would have come to that decision, but in case I phrased it in such a way as that I had already made up my mind prior to the vote or anything prior to the meeting or in advance. Otherwise, I just want to clarify this. But other than that, thank you for your comments. Yeah. For the most part.
I would just encourage the board and remind you, I think we're 9 months left of your four-year mandate. We don't know what faces may change around this table. So I'm asking you all to think of the legacy and the longevity of this board. And if the transparency is a commitment, let's please get this in place before we're heading into the campaign season. I think it's doable and realistic.
And with all of the amount of time you spent with us and the research that you do, I'm hoping that your campaign is going to be very positive. Okay,
Asking you to run, or is that an endorsement?
You know what? Let's see where you go with that. I know that you have the best interest of Riel at heart, so let's find a place to use that continuously. All right. Other than that, no comments or questions, and so I will bring this meeting to a close, and I will ask that we come back in camera for just a couple of moments. Thank you very much for your attendance.